Hi, this is Tim Reagan, and I've got a number of my founding members of the Free Agent Collective with me here. And we're in the very early stages of our community building. We're about 6 weeks in since we launched the community. And so what I'd like to do is just have each member quickly just introduce themselves, first name, and just sort of tell you what they're experiencing thus far in the first weeks of our community and sort of where they see this going. So, Jamie, how about if I start with you?
Sure. Thanks, Tim. We've been together in the community for several weeks now, and I'm really amazed at how immediately we've come together and collaborated. I've collaborated with Jan and Phil on generating good proposal level material to capture the attention of a client whose business I want to win, a country general manager for part of a multinational. And it's not something I could have done on my own. So thank you both, Jan and Phil. It's really shaping up. It's really looking good. It's looking really professional and insightful. Beyond that, I've collaborated with Deb and learned through the benefit of being part of this community that there's an art to scoping, and that's going to be very useful in my engaging with a client that both Deb and I are working with, because I've got a bit of a more complex and unstructured task to bucket. And Tim, thank you again so much for helping me figure out how to deal with the fixed price challenge when dealing with sophisticated work, because I've had trouble with that in the past, and positioning me to be more effective as a free agent in a quadrant where you really have to perform in many ways with many different kinds of people effectively. So I think this is a great experience, and the community is helping me out in lots of good ways, and I'm glad to be helping other members too.
Oh, thanks. That's excellent. And so, Phil, what's kind of your experiences just in the few short weeks we've been at this?
Yeah, thanks, Tim. I really enjoyed this community because I have been working for about a year and a half in reinventing and reorganizing, recreating my whole sort of brand and brand personality. And it's been a bit of a challenge. And I find by having this community of like-minded people, it's good to share ideas, answer questions, and talk more about what's happening. It's also good too because there's a guide people now to keep me accountable, keep me, hey, did I get this done? How's it going? People that give you feedback and share ideas and insights has been really, really helpful. And I think it's cool to just hang out at least once a week, maybe twice a week, with a group of people that are also going through some of the same pains and frustrations, so that you've got this benefit of some empathy and someone else who understands.
Thanks, Phil. That's great. Jan, can we move to you?
Hi, yes. Well, I'm quite new to the area, so I've enjoyed the networking aspect and getting to know a few other people, and a bit like Phil, the support and really just the being able to share some of the experiences and have some people relate and relay some of the information that I needed to get ahead.
Yeah, and just for the sake of the viewer, is Jan is, as he said, new to the area, and so one of the other advantages, and this isn't really sort of necessarily baked into the Free Agent Collective as a primary thing, but because he's joining a group of people that are also physically located, he's been able, I think it's fair to say, Jan, that you've been able to kind of accelerate your own network building by tapping into networks of Phil and Jamie. So which is another sort of bonus when you join a group of people. Debbie, how about your own experience?
Yeah, hi Tim. Yeah, for me, I did not grow up in what you would call an entrepreneurial family. So learning to be smart about networking and searching and marketing yourself and all of that's all things that I had to learn. So by being in a group like this, I get to see how other people do it. I get ideas, certainly from Tim, ton of ideas and advice from Tim, but also from the other members of the group. Even just watching how they do things gives me ideas, shows me other ways of approaching things. Jamie, I've learned from you in the little bit of collaboration that we've had. I've already learned some things from you. Jan and Phil, you guys are new, but I'm sure I'll be learning some things from you guys as well. Networking is one of them. So, I was never very good at networking. So that's one thing that I've certainly learned a lot more, how to do it and the necessity of doing it and things like that. So that support, as Phil says, that you get from the members and from Tim, I have to say, it's a totally different kind and better kind of support than I'm used to getting from the work environments that I have been in. So I just a whole bunch of reasons there. I'm real happy with the group.
Cool. Thank you. A couple of things I wanted to just pick up of there. So one is this kind of continual improving, whether it's networking or interview skills or, clarifying our positioning and our branding and our taglines. It strikes me that we're now in a world where, you're never going to get good enough at this stuff. It doesn't matter how good you are, you got to get better, right? If you're great at networking, you better notch it up at least another, degree or two, because, it's kind of the pace of change in the game is moving that much more quickly. The other thing, and Jamie co-hosted a training that I did a couple of days ago. Thank you very much for that again, Jamie. And but one of the points that we had a chance to make in the training was one of the real attractions of this group of people is that it's a very broad, diverse skill set. So it's kind of got baked into it a diversity. Everybody's coming from a different background. Everybody's kind of focused on a different thing. And, generally, if you think about it, a lot of the communities that we join up or associations that we're members of are very, very deep. It's the accountants, it's the left-handed accountants of this kind of thing. And which is great, I think, when you want to, learn what everybody else in your area is doing. And so I do think that all of us as members, probably want to be part of those kinds of associations that are very deep in our own area, our own skill area. But what really appeals to me about this and where we're going is building a diverse group of people. So you can do the wide and you can do the deep. Because the thing that, and Jamie mentioned this and Debbie mentioned this, is learning from other people who have probably had the same issue, but from a different perspective, and possibly can apply it differently in their own markets. And so, what can you learn from somebody that's in a quite different market, but has actually had to, struggle or learn something about, either positioning things to clients or developing fixed price point packages or whatever the case might be. And, there's an awful lot of learning that can happen across the diversity of the community, which generally is hard to find a really diverse community because we don't tend to build them. We tend to build very, very, technically specific or very deep communities. That was kind of one of the observations. And I was, any comments about that? Does that mesh with some of what you guys are finding?
I can share something with you. I think one of the beauties of this particular evolving free agent community is cohesion. Normally when you try to bring high performance teams together, there's certain things that just have to be in place for, folk to benefit and achieve something, either individually or as a team. And what I'm seeing with Jan and Phil and also with Deb is that we are getting progressively more cohesive. So I'm sure others have been part of, I've been kind of freelancing for close to 25 years and worked with a lot of startups and institutions, and there's barns of consultants out there, and you get together and you write proposals and then you disband, but there's no cohesiveness if you don't win the bid. So you don't really progress. You kind of, look at the winner, you feel envious about it, and maybe you get some feedback on your proposal. And that's that. And you move on and you don't really learn anything. Self-assembling teams within societies, I've been part of that before multinationally. And people aren't really committed to each other. So I think what I'm really enjoying here is that, we're getting good and tight. So as this scales, I can see taking great advantage of going into the small cells that you're going to be incorporating within the community, where we can all assemble into small groups based on how we're feeling within a greater meeting. and benefiting from, well, a revolving set of insights as we come across new challenges. So the cohesion and the consistency and the evolving insight and improvement is pretty impressive. It's not just like showing up at a workshop that's held, say, twice a month as part of some kind of an entrepreneurial get together that involves 100 people. It's tight and it's going somewhere. So thanks, Tim.
No, great observations. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the time when we've got 100 or more members and we're doing a rapid fire speed networking, one-on-one and two-on-two and things like that through. And again, one of the neat things about the technology that, Zoom, you can handle those things. So you can do all these little breakout groups. And so you can really start to get a level of, even though it's virtual, you can still get a level of kind of intimacy and knowledge and deeper relationships. Any other comments? I don't want to keep people long. I would like to honor your evening and let you get on with what's important to you guys. The whole key of this is individual success will beget community success. So it's all about us as individuals first to get what we need out of this.
The one thing I'd add to pick up on Jamie's comment is also the idea that I get that there's, I've belonged to different associations or clubs or groups, but it was more sort of like a social get together. There may be some workshops. There might be some fundamental, or not fundamental, but sort of some generic learnings on the side. You might see a cool speaker. What I find really special for me about this kind of collective is that it's a working collective. Like, this really is sort of foundational to how I think, what I do, and how it affects my day-to-day life through my business. And so for me, this has a lot more concrete feeling about it than joining the XYZ club.
No, thanks. That's yeah, very good. And Jan has some great things for us. He's forcing us to drive the roster. So the other beautiful thing is, the bigger the network, the more people, the more skills there are, the bigger the roster, the more interesting problems you can tackle, collectively. And so what one of the conversations we've had is as we scale, we have the opportunity for members to find each other and start to work on collaborative projects that are over and above our ability to do them alone. When you start to be able to map together a bunch of different skill sets. And I've been really pleased, actually, just in the very short time that we've been together, that there's already some of those collaborative things that are happening, and they've been mentioned early on. But that's really good, because it's still a relatively small group of people, and it's very early days. So as you start to scale up both the length of time that we get comfortable with each other and the size of the community, you can start to see all kinds of really neat things sparking and opportunities being developed. So again, in honor of the time, and I don't want to take everybody's time, any final thoughts? Otherwise, I'll just thank you all very much and end the call.
One final thought, Tim. I think that we're working each other very effectively, and the end result is that we're going to end up being better, more effective, and more gracious professionals in dealing with the tough stuff. When we just need that community support. We don't need to go into details, but if we're really consultants or free agents, then we have to be keeping a funnel full of projects going at the same time, and we have to be disciplined in eliminating projects that are not going to be fruitful. And yet we're still dealing with people. So how we improve our skills in terms of client engagement through drawing on each other, and how we deal with the people so we don't burn bridges when we make those tough choices and deal with those tough conversations and move on, is something I think that we're improving at. And I think we're ending up being better people through working together in a collective like this.
That's a very nice thought to end the call on. So I want to thank you all. Thank you all very much. And I really appreciate it. And we will see you in the next community call. So take care. Bye-bye.